To order. And I will ask student trustee Vasquez to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think we're ready for roll call.
Student trustee Masson.
Here.
Student trustee Vasquez.
Here.
Trustee Withrow.
Here.
Trustee Johannes.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Here.
Trustee Napolia Villariz.
Yes, here.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito. Trustee Quinlan.
Present.
Trustee Delphine Pope.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Student trustee Masson will read the 3.4 affirmation of the statement of cooperation.
Over the course of the last 2 years, we, the Peralta Community College District Board of Trustees, have been engaged in the process of reflection to improve our effectiveness as a board. As a result, we have conducted a critical review of our work over the last several years through a formal self-evaluation and established meaningful goals. The Peralta Board has adopted a statement of cooperation that codifies our commitment to set the bar for excellence and governance in community college leadership and to lead by example for our Peralta colleges. The full statement of cooperation is attached to this agenda item, but in summary, we have committed to 1, build trust and seek to understand each other, 2, be prepared and follow good governance and ethical protocols, and 3, model the behavior we want others to exhibit. Therefore, we commit to honor and uphold these commitments in words and in action.
Thank you, student trustee Masson. With that, are there any reports of actions taken in closed session?
No items to report.
All right. Okay, so we'll move to 3.6, approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Student trustee Masson.
Yes.
Student trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Withrow.
Yes.
Trustee Johannes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Villariz.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pope.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. With that, we'll move to 3.7, approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Student trustee Masson.
Yes.
Student trustee Vasquez.
Yes.
Trustee Withrow. Trustee Johannes.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Yes.
Trustee Napolia Villariz.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Pope.
Yes.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes,
Motion passes.
all right, thank you. With that, we'll move to 3.8, associate student government reports. Do we have any reports?
We have nobody online, so unless they're here in person.
All right, so no student government reports today. With that, 3.9 Peralta Classified Senate report, I think also does not have a report today.
Correct.
So with that, we'll move to 3.10 District Academic Senate report.
Thanks, folks. Matthew Goldstein here, ill-prepared for tonight's remarks because I came up sooner than I expected, but I'll try to be brief. First, I just wanted to let folks know that the tri-chairs of the Participatory Governance Council, that's Chancellor Gilkerson, Ms. Tashetta Henry from the Chancellor's Office, and myself, will meet the day after tomorrow to discuss next steps in the PBIM revamp process. As you've heard, the March 22nd retreat was a big success, a useful first step in forging connections among the various constituent groups and developing shared principles. Next up, further analysis of what our shared goals actually are and some outlining of the practical measures we might take to achieve those goals. Next, I wanted to acknowledge the district's efforts to address the longstanding issue of its over-reliance on acting and interim administrators. The reorg announced by the Chancellor's video message several weeks ago put the district on a course towards stabilizing our permanent management structure. And as part of that initiative, faculty and staff are at last participating formally in the hiring process. And I think this development will go a long way toward building trust and helping the district to rebound from COVID and kind of the weakened bonds among constituent groups that the pandemic was in part responsible for. Finally, two quick DAS inside baseball items. First, I wanted to thank Dr. Young Hu from the Office of Planning and Institutional Research, who gave the District Academic Senate a version of the enrollment update that Dr. Francisco Herrera offered here a few weeks ago. Senators had tough questions for Dr. Hu, and she handled them gamely, and she offered assurances that her office would answer any follow-up data queries for faculty who posed those queries. So we were very grateful to Dr. Hu for coming to that meeting and working with the Senate. Second, a reminder that Peralta Senates will be attending the state plenary session in San Jose next week. So you can look forward to a report from the state plenary at my next set of comments. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to following up with you again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, President Goldstein. With that, we'll move to public communication on matters that are not on the agenda.
First, we have Matthew Goldstein.
I think he'd be prepared already. I'll cede my time to President Jeff Sinceri of the PFT. Thanks.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for allowing me to speak. In this message, I want to speak directly to the dais and take this time to impress upon you the importance of your position as trustees. After a certain amount of years, it may be easy to become complacent and perhaps maybe not even pay attention. And I say this without any malice or sarcasm, but rather with concern. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Almost 2 years ago, our president of PFT at the time, Jennifer Shinowski, sent an email to the district admin, faculty, and the trustees. Without going into too much detail, it was a discussion of our finances in the context of class cuts and allocations of FTEF. There was a brief back and forth in which the district, instead of responding to the evidence presented, decided to respond to questions of their own, which had become a frustrating routine by that time. But what I want to point out, here is not the back and forth, but rather that most of our trustees and some of you here tonight decided to completely ignore the messages. My concern is that the silence from some board members was a product of either ignorance of the processes, intimidation from district leadership, or even pettiness. I relate this story to you here because the board's unwillingness to engage and take seriously faculty and staff concerns is strikingly similar, frankly, to the current unconfirmed rumors that are swirling around our district right now. Then or now, I think our students, staff, and faculty deserve a board that's responsive and takes our concerns seriously without mocking us publicly. Peralta's always had an incredibly engaged faculty who have a deep thirst for knowledge and a deep desire to do right by our colleges and our students. Over the past few years, most, but certainly not all, of the board members have played a large part in stifling honest discussion, all while heaping continuous stream of praise to our then interim chancellor. I really hope that as we move forward now and contend with the various financial and academic repercussions of the last 3 years of leadership, that you, members of our board, will remember the saying that sunshine is the best disinfectant, and that hiding behind the dais or closed session gets us no closer to solving our problems together, which I'm really, really committed to doing. Taking responsibility and owning the decisions you've made in the last few years will go a long way towards allowing you to reflect and make better ones in the future. Now, to everyone listening to this out in the world, especially faculty, I want to remind you that this is an election year and we have 4 trustees who are up for re-election. PFT's Committee on Political Education will be meeting to discuss our endorsements. And if our past practice is any indication, we'll be basing our decision not on personalities, but upon concrete actions of our board members, like the ones described above. Ones that have taken place on this very dais, in this very room, especially as we feel the effects on our district, community, and faculty and students. Lastly, I'll say that I'm airing my frustrations here and hope, my frustrations and my hope, as a faculty leader and a leader of working people throughout the district who are heavily invested in the health of our district, our colleges, and our students. I also say them here to remind everyone that faculty have been paying attention even when we were silenced. But like so many throughout the district, I am really, really hopeful about the future. And I'm also hopeful that with honesty and humility, we can all look back at our mistakes and work with our new administration in service of something better. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is all the public comment we have.
Okay, with that, we'll move to 3.12, Chancellor's Report.
Good evening, trustees. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to first turn it over to Dr. Pamela Lester from College of Alameda to give remarks.
Thank you so much. It's still a privilege and honor in week 4 to be serving at COA, and so thank you for this opportunity. In your board report tonight, you'll see a highlight of our annual partnership breakfast and the launch of COA Mobile, which has been out and about recruiting students and bringing students into COA. You'll also see our wonderful program that we had called Beyond Emancipation, which is in support of our foster youth, and a workshop that was done at CSU East Bay. And lastly, you'll hear about our college to career information, again, focused in on foster youth. I can tell you that in our next report, we'll be happy to talk about our youth career and job fair that we participated in at Encinal High School. And today we had the market, which is out of our basic needs program, and we served about 130 households with our free shelf stable food and produce. So with that, that ends my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lester. I'll now turn it to Dr. Denise Richardson from Berkeley City College.
Good evening, Chancellor Gilkerson, Board President Gonzalez Brito, trustees, colleagues, students, and members of the community. As shared in our board report, our associated students of Berkeley City College are holding their elections, which began today. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate our current ASBC on a job well done. President Christian Klichev and your leadership and that of your Senate colleagues has raised the bar for engagement, inclusivity, and communication. We're also grateful to our student trustee, Natasha Masson, for consistently representing us with grace, dignity, and compassion as a member of the board. We had the opportunity to feature some of our amazing ASBC leaders at our last BCC Spotlight podcast. So please check it out on KGPC 96.9 Peralta Community Radio website to learn more about these remarkable student stories. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending the APAHI conference titled Radical Hope, Leading with Love, Courage, and Action. In addition to experiencing the inspiring speakers and workshops, I felt the power of coalition building in a really emphatic way. As we tackle some of the systemic challenges of serving students, it is showing up in these spaces and sharing ideas for positive change that will make the difference. For example, I learned about the recent much-needed overhaul to the designation of race and ethnicity by the federal government. The question of measuring a respondent's race or ethnicity will now include 7 broad categories: white, Hispanic, or Latino, Black, or African American, Asian American, Indian, or Alaska Native, Middle Eastern, or North African, and Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander. Under the previous standards, Hispanic or Latino ethnicity was measured in a question separate from the one on racial identity. This is a huge gain for the cause of equity by recognizing the expansive nature of our diversity. Lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't share a final plug for our 50th anniversary celebration on April 23rd. I met with our DJ today, and if nothing else, you don't want to miss the music. It's going to be filled with 70s music and hits up through the current day. We will also have taco trucks with free food for everyone. For the groundbreaking ceremony, we'll be joined by Berkeley's mayor, the Honorable Jesse Araguin, our board president, Paulina Gonzalez Brito, esteemed members of our board of trustees, our chancellor, Dr. Tamil Gilkerson, and other special guests. So don't miss this opportunity to celebrate with us for this amazing milestone and the groundbreaking of our new building at 2118 Milvia Street. The block party will take place from 11 to 2, and the groundbreaking will begin at 2 o'clock. Please check the BCC website for any additional details. This concludes my report for Berkeley City College.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Next up, Dr. Rudy Besikoff, Laney College.
Good evening, Chancellor Gilkerson, Board President Gonzalez Brito, members of the governing board, colleagues in education, and of course, our valued students and community members. Before I get into my remarks, I actually would like to do a quick recognition of somebody in the audience tonight, student journalist Desmond Meagley, who has been selected for a prestigious internship with the National Lesbian and Gay Journalists Association. There we go. Congratulations, Desmond. The community is invited to Laney College on Friday night at the Odell Johnson Theater at 6 o'clock for an event put on by the Merritt Conservancy. It's a project really dedicated to the further beautification of Lake Merritt and the area surrounding it. And Laney College, being a good neighbor, is participating. The event is also noteworthy because Professor Amy Borquez in biology will actually be on the panel at that event participating. And then also part of the event will be a contest around landscape architecture. And I'd like to send a shout out not only to the students in architecture who are participating, but also Department Chair Barry Yu, who's kind of been heading the effort. So that's something that's exciting. Speaking of exciting things, this is a pivotal last couple of days at Laney College because we have had our exercises for our final process for selection of our permanent Vice President of Administrative Services and Student Services that has been going on. In addition to the interview, though, I wanted to let the board and the chancellor know that we have had forums on campus, as well as a number of activities that have included a tour of campus for the finalists and a number of things that have gone on. And those things don't just happen with, you know, the drop of a hat, so to speak. But so for that reason, I'd like to recognize several classified professionals, administrators, and faculty who went out of their way to make our finalists feel welcome as part of the process. Dean Tariq El-Jarari and Dean Inger Stark gave tours of the campus. Staff in the library, including Department Chair Yiping Wong and Reginald Constant, they were gracious hosts as we put on parts of our process, which was appreciated. And then for the forums, Marla Leach and Reginald Constant actually served as facilitators along with faculty member Heather Cisneros. But also behind the scenes, I want to thank our custodial and food services staff, along with IT staff members, including Director Chris Moore, Vu Fan, and Will Jones. And then running the whole thing out of my office was Elena Sanchez. So just a big shout out for what is a very important time for Laney College. And with that, I'll conclude my remarks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Besikoff. I'll now turn to Dr. David Johnson, Merritt College.
Good evening, Chancellor, President Gonzalez Brito, trustees, colleagues, students, and community. So trustees, you have my formal report, which highlights some recent awards that our PTK chapter has garnered. The Cesar Chavez celebration that was sponsored by Puente last week, and the publication of a new book on WrestleMania penned by our environmental management faculty member, Brad Belugian, and it has already actually been favorably reviewed in the Wall Street Journal. So go pick that up and I'll take my cut. So I want to spend a few brief moments tonight highlighting just really quickly two other things. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to attend an event which was co-sponsored by our Streets Scholars program. And that event focused on reimagining policies for people who are justice impacted. And one of the things that came out of that meeting was committing ourselves to changing the language we use surrounding student progress. Academic probation, for example, is problematic for many of our students. So I think the connotation there is obvious, but more important than the language is the intention and practices of making our policies more supportive and flexible for our students, because you can change the language, but if the process doesn't change, it's really, what does it mean? Second, just this afternoon, Merritt College held a student-led focus group that centered on the educational experiences and challenges of Black and Brown students. I appreciate Trustee Johannes for taking the time to attend and lend her voice and wisdom to that discussion. But one of the biggest takeaways was that our students expressed the need to have active and engaging campuses. That was something that came up more than once, something that would be best achieved in their view by having a greater presence of faculty, staff, administrators, and students on campus. So with that, I'll end my remarks for the night.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson. So now I'll begin my chancellor's report. Want to thank, I was honored On Thursday, March 28th, I was honored to attend Peralta's first professional development day held exclusively for classified professionals, hosted by the College of Alameda. It was a pleasure, real pleasure, actually, supporting such dedicated employees. I was so filled with inspiration and hope looking at their smiling faces. I let them know that classified professionals are shapers of culture in our district and how proud I am that they are shaping the culture that we want here for employees in our district. I want to thank the organizing team that included Hope Blaine, Jamil Tier, Kwana Rollins, and Natasha Spivey. And also want to give a shout out to Trustee Vice President Quinlan for joining in the festivities as well. The day included speeches from the presidents, raffles for gifts, a powerful keynote on the importance of self-care for those who are responsible for helping others by Dr. Don Moultrie, and workshops on retirement planning with CalPERS and understanding boundaries to protect students and employees by ASKIP, our insurance provider. And I hear, there were some yummy tacos and dancing too. I think dancing is a theme in this district now. So let's get a move on. So congratulations to our classified professionals on an outstanding day. Last week, I participated in the first White House initiative on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders Higher Education Leadership Development Summit on April 2nd at UC Berkeley. The day included meaningful conversations related to how institutions can improve education equity for Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander students, having community-centered discussions on policy reform, learning how to start employee resource groups on campus, and delving into professional and leadership development. I want to thank the colleagues that I also got to see there. You could see them on the slides. I want to also say that congratulations to the Asian Pacific Americans in higher education for holding a successful annual conference with the theme Radical Hope, Leading with Love, Courage, and Action here in Oakland in April from the 3rd to the 5th. With over 1,300 attendees, including 2 of our college presidents were in attendance. So appreciate being in community with them. I joined several employees and Trustee Gonzalez Yuen in the outstanding programming and a reflection on what radical hope is, right? Which is the antithesis to trauma caused by oppressive social conditions. The theme encouraged us to adopt a reflective practice to achieve transformation through the act of radical hope and inspires us to embody what is necessary for our healing. In the space of racial hope lies a new vision for a future without the limitations of the past. And really, at both convenings, college and university CEOs and advocates discussed the ongoing advocacy strategy for addressing the conflict with the current federal regulations related to minority serving institutions and multiple designations such as Hispanic serving institutions and ANAPISI organizations. I want to thank Dr. Richardson for joining in one of the conversations that we had at the APAHI conference. And similar to sort of the disaggregation of things, it's pitting groups against each other in the race for funding to support most needed students. And we can see here in California and nationally that many colleges have multiple minority serving institution designations and shouldn't be limited to the funding based on sort of arbitrary and old guidelines. And so we'll look forward to the trustees helping us with that advocacy strategy in the future. I also want to give a shout out to our colleagues from Laney College and Berkeley City College who provided an outstanding panel session titled Finding the Sweet Spot with Community Support Groups, a collaborative approach to increasing mental health access for AANHPI students. They shared their experience forming a mental health support group in response to the rise in anti-Asian violence 2 years ago and the recent Centers for Disease Control findings on the maddening disparity in the utilization of mental health services by Asians in the United States. The group shared some cautiously optimistic results. The presenters were Susan Yee, Sharon Kwok, David Lee from Laney College with Pumi Savayong from BCC. This is another example of thought leadership in equity matters coming from Peralta. So well done to my colleagues and thank you. You've seen it. I've been all over the streets and in the news and all these places, but we've got some light leadership opportunities here. And I'm excited to share 3 leadership opportunities within the Peralta Community College District, each offering a chance to profoundly impact our diverse community in the East Bay of Northern California. These executive level cabinet positions reporting directly to me represent pivotal roles in shaping the future of education in our district. They are College of Alameda permanent president, our deputy chancellor and chief operating officer position, and the vice president of human resources. Please help us spread the word about these leadership opportunities. Great news. We've received notification from Congresswoman Barbara Lee's office that our earmark of $850,000 has been made it past the House and Senate and now is law. This $850,000 in funding under the auspices of the Department of Justice is for reimagining California community college police training, a holistic approach to safety and health. This funding for alternative policing includes curriculum revision and expansion of the Merritt College, our outstanding Merritt College Administration of Justice program, which will further the efforts begun in 2020 and aligns with the resolution the board passed in 2021, supporting holistic safety and the creation of the new participatory governance, holistic safety, security, and wellness committee in 2023. This earmark will help us develop our efforts further. I want to thank Congresswoman Barbara Lee, her staff, the Merritt College president, Dr. David Johnson, the faculty of the Administration of Justice program at Merritt, and former interim chancellor, Dr. Jeanette Jackson, for their efforts on the proposal. I too want to congratulate citizen reporter Desmond Meagley as one of the 10 students selected nationally for the prestigious all expenses paid internship with the National Lesbian and Gay Journalist Association. Desmond will attend the upcoming convention in Los Angeles, where they will receive mentoring from reporters from the New York Times, the Associated Press, and NPR. And I got to tell you, I imagine Desmond's going to be doing a little mentorship of their own to all of these prestigious organizations. So congratulations, Desmond. You know, earlier today, the San Francisco Chronicle published a fascinating data set analyzing the acceptance and attendance rates from California community college students transferring to the University of California system. I'm pleased to report the Peralta Colleges are among the top feeder schools in the Bay Area for getting accepted to UCs. So y'all can see, this is my chart that I did this morning at like 7. I mean, I like hand went into the tool. I did a quick analysis and found that among the Bay 10 district colleges, College of Alameda has the top acceptance rate to UC statewide with an 88% acceptance rate, and was the top feeder for UC San Diego with 83% acceptance rate and UC Davis with 84%. Berkeley City College and Laney College were top 5 in the Bay Area for acceptance rates in transferring to UC Berkeley. This freshly publicized data tells a story that we already know, but many people don't say about our colleges in our district. The people of Peralta Colleges are doing great work helping students transfer to four-year universities to pursue their dreams. This is passion, purpose, possibilities being demonstrated in the data. I welcome you to go ahead and look at those data sets and have fun toying with the results like I did this morning. And finally, Eid Mubarak. Lastly, I want to acknowledge that tomorrow, April 10th, is Eid al-Fitr, an important day in the Islamic faith, as the month of long fasting of Ramadan comes to an end. The Peralta Community College District wishes blessings to you all, and this concludes my report.
Thank you, Chancellor. Congratulations on the earmark. That's a huge success. Okay, with that, we're moving to public hearing and action items. 4.1, we have a public hearing to discuss conveyance of temporary construction easements to East Bay Municipal Utility District for the East 10th Street Pipeline Replacement Projects. We have a public hearing on this item and wonder if there's, I have to do this. And so we call this public hearing to order and ask if there's any public comment.
There is no public comment.
Okay, with that, we will close the hearing. Do that again. For the public hearing on the easement. And we'll move to action items on the easements. So to action item 4.2. Consider adoption of resolution number 2324-120, authorizing conveyance of 2 temporary construction easements to East Bay Municipal Utility District for a 1-month term.
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion?
Student trustee Masson,
Yes.
student trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. With that, we'll move to item 4.3, considering approval of the temporary construction easement agreement with East Bay Mud for the East 10th Street Pipeline Replacement Project.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
Student trustee Masson,
Yes.
student trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. So we're moving on to the consent calendar. Is there a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Oh,
Ready for roll call?
yes, we are.
Student trustee Masson,
Yes.
student trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Johannes,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Bellarice,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. All right. Actually, why don't we do that now, Chancellor? Yeah.
Thank you, President Gonzalez Brito. We actually had a request for public comment from Jamil Tier and Hope Lane related to a non-agenda item. And so we want to invite them to come forward now.
Hello, trustees, chancellor, presidents, and guests. This is funny. We were like 10 minutes late and you guys are halfway through. Wow. So I'm here. I am Hope Lane from Laney College and Jamil Tier from the district. So I just want to read a little something. I know I sent an email thanking everybody for allowing us to have our space to do our professional development event for us to come together as a community of professionals to team build and establish relationships and develop personal self-care practices while enjoying the beautiful College of Alameda campus. So we have a gift for our chancellor and presidents and one for you as well, Trustee Quinlan, but we can get that to you later, okay? So we will call, the first one is for Dr. Lester for that. And that is our gift of us on the, you guys were so gracious for us to have this wonderful day. It was really, really nice. Jamil is bringing the rest up. It was a great day. One of the feedback, some of the feedback I got was that they were able to put names to the faces of the emails that they often receive. So, and that is for Berkeley City. Thank you. Thank you for your message. We knew you couldn't be there, but thank you for your message. We would all have to do them. We can do them at another time. So this was the picture that we took on the stairs. I love that space that we were at. Thank you for opening your doors to us, College of Alameda. The space was really great. That's it. Thank you guys so much for this time. Appreciate you and thank you, trustee. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're going to move to remaining action item 9.1, consider adoption of resolution number 23-24-119, approving an agreement incorporating a piggyback contract for purchase of information technology equipment from Nexperts Incorporated.
So thank you, President Gonzalez Brito. This contract, piggybackable contract, is under the Foundation for California Community Colleges, which is available to districts in California community colleges that seek to purchase IT equipment. You are adopting a resolution tonight for helping us procure the needed IT equipment for an upcoming project that we have here in the new landscape horticulture department at Merritt College. And what it does is district staff researches whether the cost in terms of this piggybackable contract is the best for us, or if we would get more if we went out, if we would incur a lower cost if we went out and got that IT equipment through standard contracting procedures. And we've come forward to you tonight because district staff has researched that and believes the piggybackable contract is the best option. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Okay.
Student trustee Masson,
Yes.
student trustee Vasquez,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Johannes. Yes. Trustee Gonzalez Brito.
Yes.
Sorry, I got it backwards. Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Napolia Bellarice.
Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Quinlan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, thank you. So that brings us to Board of Trustee reports. This time I'll start to my right. Trustee Withrow, is there anything you'd like to report? Okay. Trustee Nicole, okay.
I too was at the Apache conference this past week, and God, what an amazing group of people, among which were our own chancellor, who was really an eloquent spokesperson for the struggles that CEOs in the API community experience. I was jumping back and forth, though, between the session that she was doing and then the session that our colleagues at Laney and Berkeley City College were doing. And I want to just in particular note that not only was the session substantively really good, pedagogically, it was great. It's like the way that the presenter set it up was an embodiment of the mental health practices that they are that they're carrying out on the campuses. And what I especially liked about it was the way that they incorporated student ambassadors in the session and then modeled how those student ambassadors were doing the work on the campuses. There's just so much more to say about it, but I'll just say I was really impressed and excited to be there. Apache tends to be in Oakland now every year. Is it going to go to Southern California next year? Okay. Anyway, if you can make it, it's really well worth going. I remember going to these early versions of this where there were like 150, 200 people over at the Kabuki Hotel in San Francisco. And now it is truly a massive affair with 1,500 people from all over the country coming together. So if you can make it next year, do. All right. Thanks.
Trustee Quinlan.
Yes, I have two things to report on. First of all, I attended the classified Senate event and I thought it was a great event, a lot of enthusiasm. To me, the highlight of the event was I'd never seen it before. They had a bingo card with all these different positions across the district and across the colleges. And you had to mark off each person, whether it was a classified person from EOPS at Laney and then one from Berkeley. And so there generated all this frantic communication that was really exciting. People were meeting each other in a way they hadn't met before, more than just hi, it was really interesting to watch the dynamics and the energy flow from that. The second item, this past weekend, I attended a very exciting event at one of our K through 12 partners at Oakland at Berkeley High School. They had the first East Bay Robotics Championship. They had over 60 teams from far away as Turkey, Australia, and India. And the team from Berkeley finished tied for 5th, which I think qualifies them for the national championships in Houston. But the energy and excitement from all these young people engaging in the technologies of the future that are different parts of our economy is going to have to depend on, and the hope that many of them will wind up in our colleges studying and enriching our programs and bringing that same enthusiasm to their classrooms and to their fellow students.
Thank you.
All right. Just two things. The first one is similar to what Dr. Johnson said, what was happening today at Merritt College, which was the Black and Brown women and men's talks at Merritt College. And I just want to, basically the idea was to discuss the needs of the students as they can speak for themselves, right? Advocate for themselves and speak to the facilitators, which were other professors around. And so the way it was set up, they separated those who identify as women and those who do not into different rooms. So all that to say, Dr. Johnson didn't see what went down on the women's side. No, on the women's side, we really got to know each other very well. We were supposed to do a 5-minute intro and then discuss what's needed, but everybody's intro, basically there was their life story of how they were able to succeed because Merritt College or whatever college was able to provide them what they needed, and what they do need, what's happening in their lives right now is what else they would need moving forward. We were passing tissues around, like seriously, people were crying, passing tissues around. They discussed, I don't want to, a lot of things. I don't want to shout certain things out. It was traumatic events that have happened to people, and they're still persevering, and they're happy that they're receiving an education and also resources from the colleges. And specifically, they said Merritt, sorry to the other colleges, they said that they felt that Merritt was providing a whole bunch. I think also the view and the feeling and all the things. So it's just really nice to get to know folk. And towards the end, they were saying, let's create some leagues, a bowling league. They said a cards league, all the things. They're trying to put stuff together and speak to other colleges. So it's really cool. And I just want to, I'm looking at the email, so I want to shout out the names of the people who put it together. And so, so it says the introduction was led by Professor Jason Seals, student and LC Ambassador Elias Tadesse. And then when they separated into two groups, they had Professor Santana, who a lot of students shouted out, saying thanks to. Director Doris Hankins, we all have heard that name. So thanks. Professors, I'm going to say Danae Martinez, Rose Allen, another one I might mess up, Ajay Harris, I'm not sure, Mariana Lopez, and that is it. But it was a combination of the Africana Center, Puente, the Learning Center, Black Student Union. Everybody came together to just understand each other's needs, and it was really great. Sorry, that was a long first one, but it was necessary. The second part, I want to say I learned this while in Merritt College, and another student brought this up in the meeting discussing housing. And she said she went to this conference with other students, and it was throughout California, and she couldn't believe that housing wasn't on the list of things to discuss. And she said when she actually did try to bring it up, they sort of ignored it, meaning because these other college or districts have a little bit more money, they're not worried about it. She's like, no, but it's a big deal specifically for our students. If you don't have a home, what are you going to focus on? So all that to say, she was really happy to see at least this one thing that, a flyer that I saw, it says dorms at, Woodminster Terrace. They offer, it's furnished rooms, study lounges, fitness center, all the things. You just have to show up, well, not just, you have to show up with, a current transcript in any, field. Also, the cost with all utilities included is $11.50. But if we remember when we had the feasibility study regarding what we would have for housing for on campus, I believe it cost about $8.50, and that was the norm for around. So to have an actual apartment building in the Oakland Hills with all the facilities, utilities included, furnished, all the things, it's a start. So dorms at Woodminster Terrace, look it up. Thank you.
I'll keep my report a little bit short. I am looking forward to the student governance meeting that is scheduled for Thursday, not Wednesday. Sorry, I didn't mean to freak you guys out earlier. But we have it on the calendar for this Thursday afternoon, so I'm looking forward to attending.
Good afternoon, everybody. This past weekend, I had the privilege of attending the SSCCC General Assembly in Santa Clara with my fellow peers from Laney, Merritt, College of Alameda, and BCC. I also want to congratulate Christian Klevich from Berkeley City College for being elected for the vice chair position for Region 3, and Mason Young from Laney College for getting elected as the Legislative Affairs Officer position for Region 3.
Hello. I also had the pleasure of attending General Assembly with the SSCCC this past weekend and found it really insightful to participate in the resolution process, SSCCC elections, and Region 3 elections that Naomi mentioned. I was also able to network with fellow student leaders and administration within our community college system to learn about their institutions and bring back some ideas that I hope to pursue in Peralta. The student governance meeting, like said, will be held by Student Trustee Vasquez, and I will be held this Thursday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. in this Peralta district office. I'm excited to hear from students on relevant topics in the districts and report back to the board on them. That is all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a short report. I wanted to thank Vice President Quinlan for inviting me to participate in reading the scholarship applications for the Peralta Foundation, which I was able to do this past week and was really inspired by our students, which really reminds us why we do this work. So thank you for that. And thank you to all the students who've applied. With that, we'll move to announcements.
Yes, the announcements for this evening are: number one, the class schedules for summer and fall 2024 semesters are posted, and early enrollment is happening for current student cohorts this week. Open enrollment begins on Monday, April 15th. Visit the Peralta website at www.peralta.edu for more information. Number two, Laney College is hosting 2 events tomorrow, Wednesday, April 10th, including a self-care fair from 11:30 to 2 p.m. in the quad and a reception for hands-on the art and craft of wood technology, carpentry, fabrication lab, and Japanese joinery in the art gallery from 4 to 6 p.m. And number three, the Bond Measures Oversight Committee will meet here in the district boardroom tomorrow night, April 10th at 5:30 p.m. Visit the Peralta website for details. And that's it.
Thank you, Vice President Quinlan. So with that, our meeting is adjourned.